Hello everyone. Welcome to BRAINROT, Echoes. Today we're about to dive into something truly fascinating. If you're a fan of your channel's theme, for example, storytelling, exploring the cosmos, or life skills and survival, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on a notification bell so you never miss a new video. And now let's begin. Part 1. The Ruins of Vorten. In a hidden corner of the universe, where light cannot pierce the dense veils of dark matter, lies an ancient star system known as branrot. Like a forgotten whisper among the stars, branrot appears on no modern astronomical chart. Yet those who have wandered in sleep through layers of space-time, those attuned to the fractured flow of time itself, still pass down tales of this place, a realm that was once the heart of a grand civilization, Vorten. The Vortens did not merely live, they commanded time. With the power to bend moments and inscribe memories into living crystals, they forged an empire spanning millions of light years. There was no war, no disease, only knowledge, evolution, and unwavering belief in the eternal core. At the heart of branrot lay Eran, a planet that housed the core, a colossal living crystal nourished by the pure energy of time itself. The Vortens believed the core was sentient, capable of dreaming, and of speaking through dreams. When a Vorten died, their memories did not fade. They became living epics, merging into the core like shimmering symphonies in a sea of light. But none foresaw that the core itself would give birth to a Bliver, a nameless entity born from the High Priest's ambition to make time bow completely to their will. A Bliver did not destroy matter. It erased existence. It shattered causality, tore memory asunder, and consumed 3 planets of branrot into eternal void. Only Eran remained, cursed, sealed off from all temporal streams. The gateways through space closed. The core's energy became unstable, descending into chaos. The last of the Vortens sealed themselves into memory crystals, then vanished, as if they had never been. Tens of thousands of years later, branrot survives only as a name filed under ancient superstition in archival records. No one remembers the Vortens. No one dares approach Eran. No one, except Kael, a man without memories, but with echoes in his blood. Part 2. The Unwitting Heir. Hundreds of light years from the heart of branrot, on a lone research station drifting among asteroid debris, Kael grew up in the silence of space and the steady hum of machinery, a heartbeat cold and mechanical. He had no family, no memory of his origins, only that he had been found inside an ancient life pod, drifting through a cloud of radioactive dust on the outskirts of a nameless planet. The only person who ever cared for him was Arvin, an aging scientist who had lost his career in pursuit of one impossible truth, the existence of the eternal core. To Kael, Arvin was both a father figure and a madman. Branrot isn't a myth, Arvin once murmured in delirium. It's a story murdered by those afraid it might be true. Kael didn't believe him, until the crystal appeared. It didn't fall from the sky. One day, the station's radar picked up a crystalline resonance deep within the 8th sublevel of the data vault, a sector sealed for over 2 centuries. Kael, newly 20, was the first to enter that frozen chamber. The crystal was translucent, glowing with a light that belonged to no known spectral band. When Kael touched it, a woman's voice echoed directly in his mind. "Are you the last one?" She called herself Sarai, an ancient Vorten and once a keeper of the eternal core's memory. Her essence had been sealed within the crystal and forgotten after branrot's fall. But now, she sensed the lifeline, a remnant of Vorten bloodline, alive in Kael. "Your blood carries the mark of Vorten," Sarai whispered. "The core still lives, but it is rotting, twisted by the fragments of broken memory. If it is not reconnected, a Bliver will be reborn from the fractures in time." Kael didn't want to hear it. He was just a mechanic, a survivor with no cause, no legacy. But then Arvin died, suddenly, moments after decrypting the final record Sarai had left behind. With his last breath, he whispered, "Eran is calling you. Don't let it call into the void." 6 days later, Kael left the research station. With an aging ship, the memory crystal containing Sarai, and a set of coordinates no one dared believe, he set course for Ilarion, where a curse sleeps beneath the ashes of a forgotten empire. Part 3. The Journey to Ilarion. No map pointed the way to Ilarion. The coordinates Sarai provided were mere fragments of space, like a torn poem, pieced together from memories tens of thousands of years old. The Sa-Hur, an aging vessel and the last relic Kael, carried from Arvin, groaned as it pushed through layers of magnetic interference. Space around the branrot system was severely warped, as if the universe itself was trying to forget it ever existed. Navigation systems failed. Time grew unstable. At moments, hours seemed to pass in minutes. Other times, a single second stretched into eternity. Careful, Sarai warned from within the crystal. We are entering the silence belt. The belt, a void where all signals, energy, even conscious thought were nullified. It had once been a natural barrier crafted by Vorten high priests to prevent creatures beyond time from invading their domain. Now, it was a graveyard of those who had dared seek the core. Kael engaged stealth mode. The ship went completely silent, drifting through space on magnetically calculated vectors. No lights, no sounds, only the echo of his own heartbeat in his ears, and Sarai's distant whispers. Then, impact. A sudden force rocked the Sa-Hur. Warning lights flickered as the emergency systems came online. In the dim glow ahead floated a massive entity, a living ship, half biomechanical, half machine, weathered and worn by time. Cracks in its hull bore the faint emblem of Vorten, and name, Thorn. Kael initiated a manual signal. No response. Donning a pressure suit, he drifted toward the abandoned vessel, its energy still pulsing faintly like a dying ember. Inside, time had devoured everything. Crushed chambers, broken remnants of what were once Vorten's centuries, now charred and lifeless. But at the ship's core, inside a memory chamber, Thorn still endured, a humanoid entity composed of biofiber wrapped around a titanium frame. When I was blind, its memory circuits flickered like a lantern gasping for air. Vorten, its voice rasped as it detected Kael's DNA. Initiating core defense protocol, revalidation, hostile presence detected. Before Kael could respond, Thorn attacked. The battle raged within a spiral corridor, weightless and brutal. Thorn was unimaginably strong, but Kael's reflexes surpassed even his own expectations, as though something in his blood was guiding him. A roar tore through the air. Sarai's presence flared from the crystal, flooding the corridor with light, disrupting Thorn's neural pathways. He's the last one, Thorn. He's not the enemy. Thorn froze for a second. A stream of ancient code burst from its neural core. Its remaining I turned blue. New directive acknowledged. Escorting air to Ilarion. Underscore. Underscore. And so the three continued their journey. Kael, the unwilling heir. Sarai, the ancient memory. Thorn, a half-mad, half-awakened warrior. Ahead of them lay Ilarion, where the last light of a dying world still clung to existence. Part 4. The Awakening of the Eternal Core. Ilarion emerged from the void like a searing scar across the cold fabric of space. Once hailed as the heart of all life, the planet was now a cracked and broken world, shrouded in spiraling lightning storms and dark pillars of ash that never ceased to rise. No signs of life, no atmosphere, only energy, a faint pulse folding in on itself, like the final breath of a dying god. The Sa-Hur descended onto the desolate expanse once known as the Valley of Time, where the Vorten's interdimensional gates once stood. Thorn led in silence, his scanner eyes sweeping every fracture in the ground, as if searching for the heartbeat of something long dead. Sarai said nothing. The light within her crystal was fading, as though the core itself was pulling the last remnants of her back toward it. At the center of the barren land stood a strange structure, a spiraling pillar of living glass, hundreds of meters tall, anchored deep into the earth. Surrounding it were dozens of concentric stone rings, stacked like spatial archives, the temple of the eternal core. Kael approached, unaware that his legs were trembling. "This is where you were born," Sarai whispered. "You were once placed beside the core as an embryo, so it could remember you. But you were taken away when a bliver rose." As Kael touched the surface of the pillar, his body began to unravel, not with pain, but with a strange sensation of being gently unstitched from time. His consciousness slipped through layers of memory, living lives that were not his, great battles, ancient Vorten councils, children cryo-sealed to preserve knowledge. And then he saw himself, not as he was now, but as an infant placed into a life pod and launched into space as the planet crumbled. And then he saw Bliver, not a being, but a void, a hunger for memory, born from the pride of the Vortens when they tried to sever memory from consciousness. And when memory is no longer lived, it decays into darkness. A Bliver was born from that very decay. Kael collapsed to his knees. Illusions, timelines, echoes of lives stormed through his mind like a hurricane. If he didn't close himself off, he would be swept away, like millions of memories before him. But in that moment, Sarai merged with the core. The crystal shattered, her light becoming a heartbeat within the spiral pillar. "I am memory. Your consciousness. The choice is yours, Kael." Kael rose. His blood shimmered, the light of Vorten awakening within him. He did not choose to forget. He chose to remember everything. And in that act, the core ignited, its first light in tens of millennia. The entire planet shuddered. The stone rings began to turn, realigning. Space folded, and at the heart of the temple, a gate through time opened, not to the past, but to a future that had never existed. Part 5. Rebirth and a Warning. The gate of time did not open with light. It opened with absolute silence. No more winds, no more chaotic memories, only a spiraling corridor through space, guiding Kael into a realm beyond time, where past and future melted into one. At the end of the corridor was the heart of the core, not made of matter, but a living entity awakening in a new form. Ilarion, reborn. The ashen land outside quietly shifted in hue. The fissures that once spat lightning now whispered music. Layer by layer, the atmosphere began to rebuild itself. Crystals of light burst from the core's center, rising like flocks of tiny luminous spirits, reweaving the torn web of time. Thorn knelt before the core, not as a machine, but as a creature redeemed. His operating system deleted itself, leaving behind a being with free will. "The eternal core has opened its eyes," Sarai spoke, not as a voice within a crystal, but as the echo of all Ilarion, resonating like waves across the cosmos. Kael stood amidst it all, a speck of dust within a swirling universe rewriting itself. But he was no longer the orphan mechanic. The Vorten blood within him had awakened, and with it, a deep knowing. The core cannot destroy a Bliver. It can only imprison it. The fracture in time, the wound from which a Bliver once emerged, still remained. A scar that would never truly heal. But this time, Ilarion had a guardian, a living memory. Kael stepped away from the core center. He did not choose to walk through the time gate, though it offered visions of all possible futures. Instead, he chose to remain, on Ilarion, once cursed, now reborn as the keeper of the universe's memory. Before the gate closed, Sarai sent out a final message, not through waves, not through words, but through feeling. A signal only those attuned to memory would receive, wherever they were in the cosmos. BRAINROT is not over. History was once torn apart, but memory always finds its way home. And somewhere, in a distant corner of the universe, another pair of eyes opened, sensing the core's awakening. There was no light in those eyes, only darkness that remembers. A Bliver has begun to dream again.